What's up? I'm back here with part two. This is part two of my interview with Carl Pierre. He's agreed to get into the nitty gritty of something that is super exciting. I've read about it both in Japan and in Italy. There are these properties that you can go and buy for literally $1. And as we all know, hey, if your starting price is at $1, then what can you buy for $5,000? And that's exactly what we're gonna talk about here today. Is Carl had an adventure, went over to Italy, went and toured the $1 pieces of real estate. So, and tell us a little bit about those. What were the properties that he actually bought, and some other stuff he's doing internationally. So let's start at the very beginning. What got you thinking about international real estate as an investment?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I got this bucket list, and yeah, I'm sorry if I'm still stuck on the previous conversation.
All good, all good.
So
We may
if you
have to
want
come back and do something else later,
yeah,
because there's so much to talk about there.
yeah. So I'm gonna try to answer that in a full sentence. So if you need to edit it or trim it back.
All good. We're pretty laid back.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man, thanks for having me and kind of touching on this topic. I can't really say that I started thinking about investing in international real estate per se. I think it was one trip that I took to Thailand back in 2011, 2012, around that time, that actually made me realize how far the dollar goes and started to open me up to the idea of living internationally. And since then, I have put on my bucket list, I have like this list of 100 things to do before I die. I put having 12 properties in 12 different cities throughout the world so that, in 1 year, if I wanted to, I could live in one property per month, right? That's the thing that I have in my mind. So that trip to Thailand kind of hipped me to how far the dollar goes. And then I started to think about, well, how cool would it be to just live anywhere else, and living in places where I get more money, more value for my dollar while I'm still earning in the United States. So that trip to Thailand kind of put me in that mode. But the whole play on the Italy dollar homes actually came from my brother. He's a physician down in North Carolina. And we grew up in New York. We actually were born in Harlem, New York. And for those of you who don't know Harlem, Harlem is like a historically Black community in Upper Manhattan. And because of that, it, of course, was the pits. That's just the history of our country.
Yeah.
So Harlem is 15 minutes from Midtown Manhattan, right? And if you look at New York City, anything that's 15 minutes from Midtown is usually valued high. But
Crazy.
because Harlem was a Black neighborhood and Harlem was heavily affected by the crack epidemic, in the late 80s and early 90s, they did a dollar program in Harlem. And those properties are now selling for between $2 and $3 million.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people who started to acquire properties in Harlem at that time, just because they were so damn cheap, that are now benefiting from the long-term appreciation of those properties. So when he saw the dollar program, he was like, yo, they're doing it again in Italy, right? And he has like this
I've
dream
seen this before. That's a great way to invest.
Exactly. He's like, I've seen this before. And he was like, I've always wanted to have this vineyard, somewhere in the world. I think Italy would be a good place. Carl, check it out. Now, I invest in real estate in New York, in Florida now. So buying, rehabbing, flipping properties is something that I do in the background. That's like probably number 2 to my home healthcare business. So he thought of it as being a natural fit. For me, I saw it as, yeah, this is kind of cool. This would satisfy one of the 12 countries, and it's a buck. So why not? There's an article out of CNN. There was the name of the company or a link to the company. I reached out to them. This was back in November. So they gave me like a date, I think in December, and then a date in February that I could come out and take a tour of the properties. The thing is, they don't want kind of like tire kickers or people who are going to be making offers from all over the world who've never come to the city and seen the property, because they're not going to do what's necessary to fix it. They're like, oh, I just spent $1, so it's just going to stay in the same shape. So one of the conditions is that you physically need to go there.
And what
So
was it about you? Was there anything else that you had to prove to get them to feel like, hey, you're someone that would be a good candidate outside of just being willing to travel there? Was there anything else?
no, that
Oh,
was just
wow.
it. Buy your ticket, show up to Sicily, and let's see if you're real, right? I think that's enough to weed out, most people, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty much it. So I set my date. That was in February of this year. I showed up with the mindset of I'm going to capture this on YouTube because from what I saw on YouTube, there were people who were documenting it, but it
Hmm.
wasn't in I guess the format that would kind of be appealing to me. It
Yeah.
didn't show exactly what that whole cycle was like. It didn't really show me the neighborhood. It didn't show me what it had to offer. It was just too choppy. So I was like, you know what? Let me kind of document this a little better. It'll be fun for me, good for the channel, and at the same time, I'll be able to satisfy one of my goals. So yeah, I just went to Italy for that reason to see what it was like, and I already had in my mind that I was going to buy something. I was like, for a
Really?
dollar, it
Okay.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick something up. But that's kind of I guess more of a marketing. I can't say that it's a marketing scheme in a way, but at this point it really is, because the
Mm.
inventory that remains at that dollar price is pretty bad. And there's another group of properties that are in the same part of town that offer way more value than the dollar home, except they're not a dollar. So the dollar homes are attractive because of the price. But there's this second market, the premium market, which the properties are selling for like between $5,000 and $20,000, but require less work than the dollar homes. So like if I
Yeah.
were to buy a dollar home, it would cost me more than that $5,000 to $20,000 to get it to that $5,000 to $20,000 condition.
Yeah.
So it made more sense just from money management perspective to go with the premium listing. So I didn't buy a dollar home, but that's what brought me out there, and I think I got a home close enough to a dollar. So
Yeah,
I'm
man.
proud of that.
So you end up buying two.
Mhm.
They're in a similar area. Are they
They're in
pretty
the
close
same
to each
area
other?
as the dollar homes.
Okay.
One of mine is across like caddy corner to one of the dollar properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I actually
And
showed one of the dollar properties. The very first dollar property I saw is directly across from the one of the properties that I picked up. They're about the same
gotcha.
size, same layout. One's a dollar, one is 5,000, and the $5,000 one is just so much better. It's livable compared
Yeah,
to
yeah.
completely needing to be rebuilt.
So you got one for 5,000, one for
Mhm.
8,000, and
No,
then
no,
what do you
one
think?
for 5, one for 12.
Oh, okay, okay, one for 12.
Yeah.
And what do you think you're going to need to put into both of those? And what do you think your plans will be for them?
Okay, the $12,000 one, I actually don't have to put in anything. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's zero. It's livable now. It had been pretty much upkept as a vacation home for an Italian family.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't have to put any money into that one. The only thing that I want to do is add a bathroom on the second floor, because then I could actually make that into kind of like a two-family house, because
Okay.
it already has two kitchens. It has a kitchen on the third floor and a kitchen on the first floor. So I could kind of
Mhm.
break out the first floor into more or less like a studio apartment, and I could keep the upper two units as a separate uh,
Love it.
two-bedroom apartment. So that's kind of my idea for that. And either way, I'm going to use that house for myself for vacations anyway. But when I am leasing it, when I'm not there, I'm going to be leasing it on Airbnb. Um, I like to have the option of knowing that I could kind of lease out both spaces, and potentially, if there was enough demand for it, kind of lease them out as either an entire house or two separate units.
Yeah. Two other things on this, and then I'm curious about just some of the other places that you're going to head. But one of the things that has been said about these types of deals is that the taxes is really high. I'm curious what you're seeing as far as property taxes. And then are there any requirements that you spend a certain amount of time in the houses each year?
Yeah, people lie a lot about what they don't know about. So the taxes are estimated to be between 600 and 700 euros a year.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah, compared to my property taxes in New York, that's like, you know,
Yeah, you could
nothing.
buy a house anywhere else. You could buy like a couple more of these houses with
Exactly. Like
that
every year. Yeah,
every year.
exactly. So, yeah, so 600 to 700 euros. The only thing is that the taxes increase with the more properties you own. So
Okay.
property one, you pay the lowest rate on. The property two is a slightly higher rate, than three, then four, whatever. So they kind of penalize landlords for owning multiple properties, which is different than here in the States. So that's number one. And the second part is, if you buy a dollar home, you have a certain timeline to complete what's considered the essentials, which are making sure that the roof is secure and that the structure is secure, right? So that, and then the exterior, if the exterior was a blight property, making sure that the exterior was brought up to date. Those are the conditions, and you have 2 to 3 years to do that. Now, depending on the municipality that you're dealing with, sometimes you have to put down a surety bond, sometimes you have to, you know, sometimes it's nothing. But if you don't complete the project in that 2 to 3 year time frame, you could get penalized. So you could get fined like anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000 euros for not completing the work, since you did buy it as, you know, one of those dollar deals. So
Right.
that's kind of what I'm saying, is it's a gray area. I think the dollar homes are best for where, if you got in early and you got some of the better ones, then I'm sure, you know, those were pretty good. But they might be best for people who are really looking to just rebuild anyway.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's because then
They
you're
just
getting the
want the
land
land.
for a dollar, and then
Exactly.
you're kind of building it the way that you want. For me, I like the hermit crab approach. I like to just kind of move in and spruce up what I need to spruce up, rather than
Yeah.
kind of drill a lot of money into something.
Hey there, Ace Chapman here. I wanted to share this quick clip with you. It's what a few of the folks have said about participating in the private equity fund incubator.
I was saying, no wonder they keep this a secret. This is
Yes,
a key to, this is wealth
this is it.
out of thin air. Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I can't wait to dive into every single one of these and just learn the hell out of all this, because it is the magic formula. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
This is way more than I had expected. You know, this is like the real deal, and I'm super excited for all of this. Just
Very
getting to the
fun.
nitty gritty of everything.
Hey, Ace,
Right.
before you go, I'll just make you laugh with this one. I'll make all of you guys laugh. So all of my children, their first name starts with a C, and I tell them that, you know, if you don't name the grandchild with the C, you know, you're disinherited. But I'm thinking I may even like change that, because Ace, I may have to name a grandchild.
Now, if you're somebody who is interested in following along as these three first participants start their very first private equity fund, be sure to go to acechapman.com, enter your information, and we'll let you follow along for free. That's right, completely for free. Just go to acechapman.com, enter your information, and someone will contact you with next steps.